Hi, my name is Michael LaFaive, Senior Director of the Morey Fiscal Policy Initiative at the Mackinac Center. I'm here with my colleague Steve Delie, the Mackinac Center's Director of Labor Policy. We're here in Lansing today because the House Labor Committee just held a last-minute hearing at which it pushed through House Bills 4004 and 4005, which repeal Michigan's right-to-work law, as well as House Bill 4007, which revives Michigan's prevailing wage law. If you were watching the hearing, you may have thought, "Where's the Mackinac Center?" Well, we were physically in the room before almost anyone else and had registered to speak during the hearing. Unfortunately, because of completely artificial time crunch, we were neither called upon to speak nor were our witness cards read into the committee record. And sadly, this is not the first time this has happened since the new legislative majorities took over in Lansing. But because we care about our research, we want to let you hear what we are prepared to tell the committee this morning. Thank you for allowing me to testify. Prevailing wage mandates artificially lift the cost of government construction projects. The Mackinac Center has extensively researched this subject and estimated its potential cost to taxpayers. The Mackinac Center's most recent research effort, a forthcoming study, indicates the cost of road construction is raised by between 8.5% and 14.3% in quality-adjusted road miles. As of 2018, we estimate that Michigan's former prevailing wage law added between $5,900 and $9,200 per additional mile in costs. Two previous cost-specific studies were performed by the Mackinac Center during our history. The most recent, published in 2007, found a 10% to 15% increase in construction costs associated with prevailing wage. Our 1999 study by Ohio University economist Richard Vedder examined a period from 1994 to 1997 when Michigan's PW law was briefly suspended and found prevailing wage raises construction costs by about 10%. At that time, Vedder estimated the actual cost increase of $275 million in capital outlays as a direct result of Michigan's prevailing wage law. I believe the majority of the quality research shows that prevailing wage laws raise construction costs for all taxpayers. It does so unfairly by effectively transferring wealth from Michigan's many workers to a relative few. Thank you for your time and attention.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and to the members of the committee. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Steve Delie. I'm the Director of Labor Policy for the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, and I'd like to share with you some of our experience with Michigan's right-to-work law. We're here in opposition today to House Bills 4004 and 4005, which would repeal right-to-work respectively in both the public sector and in the private sector. I'd like to focus primarily on House Bill 4005. The reason for that is that House Bill 4004 is entirely unconstitutional thanks to a United States Supreme Court decision in Janus v. AFSCME. However, the principles that underlie both bills are equally important in the public sector and the private sector. I think it's important before we continue this discussion to really explain the basics of what right to work is and what right to work is not. Right to work does not ban union membership. It does not prevent willing union members from being able to join a union should they wish to do so. All right to work does is says to employees who do not wish to be members of the union that they do not have to pay the union if they do not support it. In private sector labor law, employees in a unionized environment cannot speak for themselves. The union is the only authorized representative. That leads to a situation where employees' voices are silenced. Right to work, while not entirely remedying that scenario, at least gives them the option to not support an entity they may not wish to associate with. There are many reasons why an employee may choose not to associate with a union. Perhaps they object to the union's political spending. Perhaps they object to the job the union is doing. They simply don't think it's doing a good enough job with representational activities. Perhaps it's something entirely different, something like the UAW scandal, in which member dues were misused by union officials for essentially lavish luxury goods. All of these things could motivate a worker to leave. Under a non-right-to-work system, the kind of system that would be adopted should a House Bill 4004 and 4005 come into effect, the employee would have no choice but to pay these unions for their activities. I'd also like to spend some time talking about the actual facts of right to work and its economic and non-economic benefits. Right to work leads to faster job growth. It leads to increased wages. It creates more in-state migration, and it's very attractive to businesses that are looking to locate in Michigan. By constantly switching back on these policies, we're creating an environment of uncertainty. Business does not like uncertainty. And so if we are going to get serious about Michigan competing on a global economic stage and becoming an attractive home to new businesses, repealing right to work is one of the worst things we can possibly do. I'd like to also leave you with this. Right to work is incredibly popular and has been spoken on by the people of Michigan. In 2012, Proposition 2 was introduced and placed before the voters. And what the voters decided in a margin of 57 to 43 was that we were not going to ban right to work as a state. Polls immediately following that, in that following December, revealed almost exactly the same support for adopting a right to work law, and that law was adopted. The latest polls show the same thing. Across the board, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, or independents, the entire political spectrum, a majority prefer right to work laws be saved. I think the benefits of right to work are so extraordinarily clear, both factually and evidence from across the country, that we need to preserve right to work here in Michigan to remain a competitive environment. Thank you for your time and your attention.